Well, good morning. Great to be with you on this Thursday. Yes, you are with George at Growth Point, growing as you're going through life. And it's really good to be able to share with you um, just some thoughts that God lays upon my heart for each morning. And today, back to God, read the warning signs. Now, come on, there are warning signs, not so. When you get into a car, the first thing that it does when you start and you start driving, isn't there a warning sign attached to fasten your seatbelt? And sometimes we neglect these warnings in life, and as a result of that, we find ourselves in trouble. Not so, because we fail to address the warning sign and apply it to our lives. Now, how many? I'm asking that question this morning. When you purchase the item that comes with instructions of how to put the item together, be it a cot. I can remember way back putting my first cot together. The first thing that you're supposed to do is take out the instructions, not so, and read the instructions, and then take what the instructions tell you to do. This bolt connects, this bolt goes through that hole, goes to there, is connected. What do we do? Now, again, if you're anything like me, and many males I know have done this, they kind of push the manual aside and they want to do it in their own strength. Now, that's the problem that we find ourselves with at the end of the day. We want to do it our way, not so. Now, I know I've done it many a times, and then I find myself with a whole bunch of items that are over, and now I say, how do I where do they fit? What do I do? Do you start all over again? Because those items that need to be fitted into whatever you're doing is important for the structure, to hold it and to keep it so that it'll endure, and not so that you'll be able to use it for many years. Now, if Adam and Eve stayed in the manual of God, they would have noticed that the serpent looked different to all the animals that Adam had named. Now, God's instructions in Genesis 3 verse 3, you must not eat from the tree that is in the middle of the garden, and you must not touch it or you will die. What is God really saying? He says, if you eat of that tree, I'm going to remove you from the garden. Now again, Adam should have picked up, man, this serpent that I can't recall giving him a name. I named all the animals, but this one is a little different. He should have taken warning, and they're already seeing that there's something different about this animal. Instead, he entertained the animal. He entertained the serpent. He began to have a conversation. Now, I want to say to you as a Christian, you don't need to have a conversation with the devil whatsoever. Even in deliverance ministries, I hear some people want to have a conversation with the enemy, with the devil, with the demon in the person by what is your name, where do you come, why do you want to know that? Jesus never spoke to the enemy like that. All he said is get out. And that is what we need to do at times, is to remind the enemy that he does not belong in our lives. He does not belong part of our lives. And so when you keep the instructions given, you'll be able to build the project without having certain items left over once the project is done. You see, again, God gave him the project of naming all the animals, but he thought, oh, well, you know what, this serpent, I'll just rename it, or I'll just give it a name, and I'll just entertain it, and I'll just allow it in. And what happened as a result of that? Eve fell to the temptation, and of course we know the story. As a result of that, they had to run from the presence of God. Now, the moment that Adam took of the fruit, it was too late to turn back and left the garden of God's presence. Now, we know that. How do we know that? God went in search of Adam. The one thing that I love about God, he will leave the 99 to look for the lost, that sheep that is lost. And God will always be there for us. All we have to do is look back and note that God is following. God is looking. God wants you into his presence. God wants you to be part of his life. God wants you to fellowship with him. Today, as we look around in the world, we see it's falling apart because of Adam failing to stay in the instructions given to him by God. The cross of the finished work of Jesus Christ restores that which Adam broke. And that what Adam failed in, Jesus restored man back to God. If you have not been building your life according to the blueprint of God, I want to say to you on this Thursday, it's time for you and I to come back to God and to surrender our all to God. Come on. It is not that difficult as what the world makes it out to be. It's time to come back to God.